Recreation Committee meeting, November 27, 2006. Meeting calls to order. Roll call. Mr. Jerry Savoy. Ms. Cheryl Fontenot, present. Oliver Joseph, present. Todd Lambert, absent. Mr. Jerry Breckenridge, absent. And Mr. Dempsey Lambert, absent. Ms. Fontenot, you mind doing the invitation?
Be glad to. Heavenly Father, we do honor you tonight. We thank you this day for the many blessings that you bestowed upon us. This is the month that as a nation we collectively give thanks. So tonight we give thanks for all the blessings that you've given to us in this nation, but especially in Ascension Parish. Father, we ask your blessings upon this parish in the year of 2007. We ask for creativity, we ask for wisdom, and we ask for courage, and we ask for the money that we need to run this parish effectively. And we ask you to give us your desires, Lord, and to make it clear to us the path that we're to take as we serve the people in Ascension Parish. Father, as always, we're grateful for those men and women who serve this nation, both abroad and at home. We ask that you return those that are at war home safely. And we ask all this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a new member to the Recreation Committee. We have asked for different members, for 3 members, and we've appointed 1, and she's here in the audience tonight, so she may join us.
Oh, thank you.
Ms. Jonette Burak.
Ms. Burak. Welcome aboard, Ms. Burak.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Number 3, West Ascension Recreation Commission update. They're not here. Oh, okay. Moving on. Recreation update. Director of Recreation, Cheryl Kinchin.
Good evening. Thank you. Well, I want to just start by introducing Darren Trahan, who is with our boys baseball program here in the parish. He sits on their administrative board, but he also is a coach. And his Ascension Warriors are now 5th in the United States of America in the 12 and under AA. Am I correct? So I just wanted him to stand up because Darren and I have debated a lot over this last year. It's always been a nice, healthy, positive debate, but we need more people like Darren who are passionate about a sport and are passionate about helping the youth of the parish. So I just wanted to recognize that his team is 5th in the nation. We also had some football teams this year that are not part of our program, but they use our fields. And we had 2 of them who went all the way and won their respective Super Bowls. So I just wanted to highlight our Ascension Parish Independent Football League that used a lot of our parks this year. Keeping them visible, the vandalism has been down, and I think that's because we have a more visible presence in all of our parks. We're doing general upkeep and maintenance on all the parks, as well as going in and trying to take care of some of the maintenance that we're not able to do during the season. At Stevens, we're going to be replacing some doors on sheds. We've fixed some fences. We're looking into solving the traffic problem with the boys' baseball program. It's a real problem at Stevens, and that's something that we're going to get a handle on before the spring season. We also have in the works a land donation that we will be talking about more in December, but it looks like we're going to have a possible 30-acre park somewhere off of Highway 42. That will be a park that will not hold sporting facilities because of the nature of the donation, but it will be a community park that will have nature trails, some maybe fields without lights, but no buildings. So it will truly be an outdoor space. We are also leasing our facilities. This is a really busy time of year for us. Lots of holiday parties, lots of get-togethers, so that's we're probably leasing more now than we ever have. We also have our nature trail opening next week. I hope everyone got their emails to them about the new date, which will be on December the 5th. Next week at 10 o'clock. I invite you to come out and enjoy us for some mosquito watching and hopefully some walking, not waiting. When we tried to do it, I think last week or the week before, Mother Nature decided that that was not going to be a trail that day. It was going to be more like a boat ride. So, but I hope that you can all make it out. If you will get me your email, I will give you a card before we leave tonight, and I will get that invitation to you in the mail, on the email as well. Other than that, next month we will have the presentation about the skate plaza. I look forward to that. It's going to be a wonderful presentation, and they will present to you the site that they think is most favorable for our skate plaza. I think I told you this last month or the month before. We have a national BMX biking event that will take place in the spring at Lamar-Dixon, so we're very excited about that. We have access to Lamar-Dixon now to a remote control radio-controlled, airplane club. So we do not own the facility, but I'm trying to get as many things out there that don't require a lot of capital so that we are using the facility.
Anybody have any questions for
comments,
Ms.
concerns, curiosities?
Oh, yeah, you know I'm gonna. Sherry, is there a way that we can get an activity count on all of our facilities? Like what goes on at each individual? I don't think the council...
Do you want just activities, or do you want numbers of participants, or just the activities?
Just the activities for now. Just I don't think the council nor the public really knows how much we're utilizing the facilities or not utilizing the facilities.
And how much double duty our parks are doing.
Right.
I don't think people do. I can email that to the entire council or just the recreation
Yeah, no, the
committee?
entire council. I think we need to get a quarterly report on the activities of what's going on our existing parks today.
Will do.
Another thing is, let's talk about the budget. We just passed the budget. How many items on your wish list did you get in your budget?
When you say wish list,
Every department's got a wish list that they present to the administration when it comes to budget time. How many items off of your wish list did you get included in the budget?
well, let me answer that in the way that I think you asked it. We were given a set of guidelines to follow to be responsible in whatever we asked for. If we felt like we needed it or we could justify the expense, to put it in the budget, knowing, of course, that we would go through the process of having those things looked at and evaluated. Doing that, I would say just about every need that I have will be covered except more money. And I think that's probably just, across the board, everybody would like to have more money to be able to build and offer the best facilities and the best programs. But realistically, we were given a set of guidelines, so I tried to stay within that. So I didn't really get flamboyant in my requests to begin with.
Okay, then where are we going to be at the end of '07 at our facilities as far as disabled?
We are coming into compliance now with all of our handicap parking, and we are working to upgrade our inclusion, which is what you're talking about. Inclusion is the catchphrase for meeting the needs of the specialty needs in our parish. Right now we have one program that operates in the summer. Facility-wise, I think that we're doing okay. My concern about inclusion is that our programs are not including as many as we could. And so to that end, you know, we're asking and reminding people that there are laws out there. Other than that, I think they're being pretty good about trying to meet those needs of all of their players and our participants.
Okay. If we was to send our safety department to the facilities and evaluate the facilities, from a safety standpoint, how many safety items do we have out there that really needs to be addressed?
At which park?
All of them. And do we have funds allocated to address them?
In terms of safety, I'm not, I mean, when you say safety, I think
Like
I've had the safety inspector, yes.
Like the playground?
Yes,
up
we are
to
in the process of
safety
putting the
standards?
absorbent fill in, but I've had Mr. Marchand go out to the parks with me, and when I do have a concern, he meets me out at a particular park. So he keeps us pretty well in compliant. I would say we are probably 95% in terms of safety. I mean, there are some fences that we probably are in the process of mending, but safety-wise, I think we're in good shape.
Okay.
And from that standpoint, Councilman, I go from a safety standpoint first, knowing that a lack of safety on our part leads to negligence and liability lawsuits. So I try to keep all that in mind when we work at the parks.
Okay. Let's talk about the donation, active donation. How close are we to finalizing that?
Well, from what I understand through legal, and they have it now. Legal is going through the description of the property, and this is my first active donation, so I'm learning as well as the developers. From what I understand, there has to be a public hearing. So, and then after the public hearing, it goes before the council. So it's in legal's hands now to actually write up the active donation.
All right, and what are some of the restrictions?
Well, it's detention land, so
what
we
it
won't
is?
be able
Okay.
to go in and put buildings with power, but it's a beautiful piece of property with water and trees and a forest, and you know, there are things that you could put on it that even if water does come up, which from what I understand it has not there, the water goes down and the field is still there. So whatever we develop there would be with the input from the community and the residents in that area, but it would also be in keeping in mind we can't put something there that if the water should come up and go back down, that it deteriorates whatever we put.
All right, how about restrooms? Are we talking about possibly being able to put restrooms?
Oh, yeah, we could do something
with
rudimentary like
electricity?
that, but we can't
Okay.
go in and put a community center or,
Right, okay.
you know, go in and put bleachers and dugouts and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Gymnasiums.
All right,
There's no core permit that restricts anything there.
okay. That's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Sheriff Hunter?
Sherry, this parish is growing, and there's many areas that don't have any kind of recreational facility at all. We are getting up in sales tax revenues from various places like the Walmart in Prairieville, different areas like that. If we could find money to increase your budget, how much do you think you would need, and what would be some of the ideas that you would use it for?
Well, without actually knowing the price of land and the values in the northern part of the parish, of course, I think land is the most important thing you need to buy if you're talking about parks and recreation and green spaces. However, you know, I only administer the budget that is legislated by the council, so I would say that I wouldn't really know how much to put to tell you I would need, because I would have to go back and say, well, do we need a 5-acre park? Are we trying to build a sports complex? Are we trying to build?
Do you have any ideas as to some of the things that could be done with the existing parks that would take some extra money, and what would you use it for?
Well, right now in the parks that we have, I would say we have parks that are doing double duty between softball, baseball, football, family reunions. I mean, our parks are right now doing double, triple duty and meeting a lot of needs for the residents. So for me, the biggest need is land, and it doesn't do anything but get more expensive. And I can remember 10 years ago the parish president saying here, land is only going to get more expensive. And it's almost out of reach for me as a department. If I tried to purchase a piece of land on my existing budget, it would pretty much wipe out the rest of my operating budget. So, and I think I mentioned at another Recreation Committee meeting that at some point, the parish would have to address the need for land. And I still think that that's where the future of recreation. As a matter of fact, in my plan, my master plan, that is the stumbling block to just about everything we're trying to do is a lack of space. And we're trying to, as you said, put more people into the existing spaces that we have. And it's very difficult to do that when you have a baseball field and you have someone wanting to come in and play soccer. So,
do we have any parks that are not being used? I mean, do we have any existing land, any existing parks that have just sort of been overgrown?
We have Hillaryville, which is one of the sites that I gave to SJB to look at. Hillaryville is in an area of the parish that is going to boom here with the PUD that the council passed, as well as the development near Pelican Point. So Hillaryville will be developed. It's just a question of it's going to have to happen. We also have Mount Zion, and that is another area that, as progress continues, that will be another area that will be in demand. But again, developing those parks is not in the budget, because what we're trying to do is to maintain what we have and to make those better. But other than those two particular parks...
What about Southwood Village?
Southwood is very used. It was very used for football. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we really need to look at Southwood is putting in a bathroom. That would be one of our ADA, our lack of compliance is at Southwood with an ADA compliant bathroom. So.
That raised another couple of questions. You are aware, you do know that there's $100,000 in the budget for land acquisition?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Where are we as far as searching for that piece of property?
Well, I did not give SJB any criteria to search for a site that we did not own. So they have only assessed sites that we own, or in the case of Lamar Dixon, are in a lease purchase agreement. Primarily because I did not think that I was going to have the money to purchase the land. I think in order to do a skate park, which is what I was thinking in terms of land acquisition, I'd need $200,000 in the northern part of the parish. So, but I did put it in there in case a piece of property did come up. And we are looking into sites that the parish already owns. We've discovered 2 on Bayou Manchac, so we will be trying to develop one of those into a boat launch of some type for non-motorized boats. We continue to look for land, but and Councilman Joseph and I spoke about land in his district. It's hard to ask people to donate land when it's going for the price that it's going here for, but that's one of the success stories of BREC, is they get people to donate 1, 2, 3 acres. And they have a lot of little parks that may just be an acre or a half acre, but at least it has a bench and a playground. So that's an area that I think we really need to be more aware of too, is to ask people to donate small tracts of land.
Okay. That's all I got.
I forgot about the $100,000 in the budget, but I did remember seeing it there. And we did discuss the skate parks and BMX park and frisbee golf and all of that at the last meeting. But we did also discuss that we had land that we could maybe use the school board land on airline in Sorrento.
Yes, and that is one of the
Are you
sites.
still looking into that?
Yes, ma'am, we are. And pardon me, you brought something to the forefront of my mind. We are in discussion with the school board to try and collaborate so that when they build a school on a piece of property, we can go in and help develop that so that it's a park/school or school/park, so that it's a win-win for everyone. The goal is really to try to have people within about a half mile of a park, wherever you live in the parish. And that's the national standard, is a quarter of a mile to a half a mile from a park.
The old Jackie Robinson Park, is that the parish's?
Yes, still there, one of our most widely used parks, one of our,
It is
yes,
used
ma'am.
again? 'Cause
And
I
it's
knew
one
it
of
shut
our,
down for a while.
the residents do a fabulous job of maintaining it. Another park where there's a lot of visibility and a lot more usage. And as that area continues to grow, I look for the same thing to
Right.
happen there. Prairieville is just about completely turned around. We are in negotiations to get into a lease agreement with the Fair Association so that we can access the front of Prairieville and make that into part of our park as well.
I know
And that has helped a great
The school
deal.
board is looking for land, I think, in the Bluff Road area out there for a school.
Mm-hmm.
That's also an area that really needs a park of some kind.
Well, part of the future lies with planning and communicating and collaborating between many different departments. And I think I've said this before at Recreation Committee meetings. Many places who don't have a tax base, who simply have nothing other than their school system, that is their recreation base. If they don't use the schools, they literally have nothing but an open pasture or an open field. And for us to not be addressing that, I think we should be doing that. We should be talking to the school board so that when they are buying land, it's with that same vision that we're all trying to improve the quality of life in the community. And it doesn't make much sense to put everybody in a community and then they have to drive 10 miles to get to a park to recreate. So that's kind of where my mind is is to try to have everybody within a half mile of a park or a green space.
Ms. Cheryl, grant-wise for recreation, how are we looking for grant-wise for recreation? How many grants are we eligible for in the upcoming year?
Okay, we are working on an LWCF grant right now to put a nature trail across the river at Lemonville. We are working on a grant to put in a raised boardwalk at Sanamaw, again, an LWCF grant. We are looking into a Tony Hawk grant for the skate plaza. And we are also looking into a grant for planting native seeds and seedlings to help restore the native species of this eco-region. So we're looking into 4 grants. It's hard to find grants to buy land. So, buying land to address your park need in your district, again, it's hard to find the money to buy land. It's better to have the land and use the value of the land as your offset for your match or for whatever your percentage of your match is. So, I'd say look for a kind benefactor.
We're looking.
But we are looking at grants, and if anybody ever comes across a grant that you think is something that the parish could use, even if it's, I just gave a grant to the River Region Art Gallery. That was a grant to try to restore some of the artists and the music and the culture that we lost as a result of the storm. So you never know, if you just go out there and search the engines and type in what you're looking for, it's amazing what comes up. So, but you are in a rural area, so I would even check maybe grants to develop rural areas for recreation. I'll check on the NRPA site and let you know about that.
Okay, I have one more question on the budget. Do we have matching funds in our budget for those grants? Have we set those funds?
No.
Okay, so if the grant get approved, you have to come back to the council.
Well, traditionally, when I'm looking for a grant, what I do is I look for a grant that allows me to use either an in-kind match. For example, the LWCFs are 80-20, so they pick up 80% and we match with 20. but my 20% doesn't have to actually be a cash match. It could be the equipment that we might use to move earth from A to B. It might be the value of the land, so that I don't actually have to come up with the capital. I really haven't looked into too much for grants that have matching funds, because then I'm looking at, if I write a $100,000 grant, then I have to drop 50, and I don't have that in my budget for that. No, sir.
Okay. Any other? Go ahead, Sharon.
I know we had talked about at the drainage, I think it was on the drainage board, about the fact that we do need to replenish some of the trees in the past that have been cut down, you know, as they excavated rivers and bayous. And you bring up a good point about the seedlings and things like that. So that would help us benefit that area. You know, I'd also like to see a few little spots along the bayous for fishing.
Well, they have some grants. I'm not really sure what the name of it is, but I know it's through Keep America Beautiful, the Lady Bird Johnson Foundation, where you can get wildflower seeds to, you know, to keep the erosion. There's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of it is just kind of getting someone to actually access it, and Martha Collins has been excellent helping me get that information together. Could not have done it without her.
I'd be interested in seeing something like that happen. And like I said, fishing. There's nothing like, you know, giving a place for a little.
There is a new initiative called
fish.
TakeMeFishing.org to try to get kids back fishing on lakes and streams again, because they've kind of gravitated away from that as we've moved more in front of the TV with our remote controls. What do you call this?
Yeah.
But there is money out there. There is even money to actually reforest parts of Louisiana with native trees, whereas we get a permit from the Corps of Engineers and we can't cut anything down, but then the governor has a committee to protect species that have kind of been killed away by these non-native or these invasive plants, the tallow tree, the Chinese tallow tree. And so all that's moot, even on a permit from the Corps, if you're planting oak trees and you're planting cypress trees. As long as you're planting native to this ecoregion, then you can take out just about anything. So, you know, there's a lot of conflicting information out there, but there's a lot of stuff out there that we just need to research and keep plugging away. It might take us a while, but, you know, we're getting there.
I'm just thinking that that's a good, inexpensive outing for a mother to take, you know, preschoolers to fish and feed the ducks.
Yeah, and you know, we've really kind of beautified a lot of our bayous. I'd love to see more kayaks and canoes and that kind of thing out on those. So maybe as we continue with our cleaning out and dredging, you know, we might be able to do something like that and have those non-motorized boats all over the parish.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
Any other questions?
Not yet.
Okay.
Got to get my feet wet.
Well, Ms. Chen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Old business. Any old business? No business. New business? Got new business. Ms. Sheriff Fontenot.
Well, I just wanted to explain to the audience that at some time back we did away with the Recreation Governing Board because they didn't have a quorum often, and decided that we would put 3 members on this Recreation Committee, and we're still in the process. We've only since put 1 member, but we are having a meeting tomorrow night with the Personnel Committee. I'm not sure if we're interviewing anybody, but anybody interested needs to check with Suzanne Patterson at 621-8577, and she can say if there's any openings. And I just wanted to make that point.
Okay. No problem. Okay. Any other new business? Need a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion to adjourn. Meeting adjourned. That's one of the quickest ones.
Boy, must be hungry.
Sounds good.